Amen, amen. Absolutely. I love it. I feel the love in this room. I'm feeling the love of Charlie running the video camera over here and the musicians singing and playing with all the love in their heart. And I was just watching Dolores with her eyes closed, using that song as a prayer, sending that love out, receiving it and sending it out. And just experiencing all of you involved in the experience of that song and what it means. And so today's message is all about that. It's called the labor of love. We're here celebrating Labor Day and getting our wonderful peninsula called Cape Cod back. Traffic was wonderful this morning, wasn't it? Just amazing weather, too. I'm going to the beach this afternoon. I don't know about you guys. We went hiking yesterday, and it's just a joy to make your life, your whole life, a celebration of love. And everything that you do, that you consider work, a labor of love, that you're doing it out of love. We've got it all backwards. We've been doing things for money. We've been doing things to fulfill some illusionary need that something's missing. And that we're going to fill it up with stuff. We have to fill it up with numbers in our bank account. Or we have to fill it up with all of this outside stimulus. And what's really not missing, but what we think is missing, is the experience of love, the experience of God. That's the only thing that we perceive as lacking. And we forgot that that's what we need. Love, sweet love, what the world needs now, what we need now as individuals. It's the only thing. So, welcome to your awakening. Welcome to the fulfillment of your labor. This Labor Day weekend, let's remember that essentially all work is God's work. One day I was down in the basement in the furnace room, and I was doing something, and I was like, this is really dark and a little smelly and moldy down here, and then I got a big smile on my face, and my hand grabbed a Sharpie, and I wrote on the workbench, all work is God's work. Whether we're replacing a toilet, or whether we're fixing the septic system, or whether we're cutting the grass, or planting beautiful flowers or trees outside, or painting the building, or putting the solar panels on the roof, or whatever we're doing, all work is God's work. All the healing, the teaching, the preaching, yes, that's God's work too. But everything, the cleaning and the fixing and the building and everything that you do can be God's work. It's all how you're holding it in your heart and mind. Everything is God's work. When you're singing to those people in the club at night, that's God's work. You're touching them with a part of your soul. And this is how I feel everything in my life should be, is a labor of love, is me finding the God self within and sharing it with you. And when we meet on that place, it's magical. Something incredible happens when you meet with someone else who's doing the same thing. It's very magical. Things just happen. Like you don't have to think about it. It's already done. It's the most amazing thing. You have the thought and it's already accomplished. It happens so fast. Sometimes you're surprised because you forgot you even had the thought. But the universe remembered and gives it to you anyway. I love that. So our work is meant to be a vehicle for the divine to flow through us and out into the world. Everything we do, our work, whatever it might be, is simply meant for us to have a vehicle to bring more love into the world. Let the divine flow through you right now. This is your work. This is your job. This is your labor of love. Let the divine flow through you. And then it doesn't matter what you're doing. There's no value judgment on what you seem to be doing out there, what your profession is. First thing people ask you when you meet them, right, is, what do you do? Right? Well, I'm mastering my magnificence. I remember John and I were in the golf course parking lot one day, and we said hi to this woman golfer walking by. Hi, how are you doing? And John says, I'm mastering my magnificence. She went, okay. Actually, I meant, how's your swing, What did you shoot? So they're going to ask you, what do you do? And you can, underneath, make sure you tell them the divine is flowing through me and out into the world. You might say, through the action of being a massage therapist, through the action of whatever I do, being a teacher or a minister or real estate agent, whatever it might be, the divine is flowing through you. You're a God expressing in the world. If not, then what are you doing? And it's a good thing to look at. It's a real good thing to look at, because how we define ourselves is how we experience ourselves. And how we define ourselves and how we experience ourselves is how we're going to define and experience everyone else. And then that's our world. So don't go around telling me the world is a crazy, mixed up, awful place, because I'm going to tell you who made it that way. Who set it up that way? And I can actually trace back to all of your thoughts, if you sit with me for a little bit, of how you're looking at yourself. That's how you're looking at yourself. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. Somewhere inside, you feel that that's your reality, that separation is your reality. And so the question of what do I do becomes, what am I doing in separation? Like, what is my role in the dream of separation? Now I'm stuck in this role. I'm letting the world define me. I'm not just a vehicle for the flow of divine substance. And we learned last 3 weeks, we've been doing a series on prosperity. True prosperity is the ability to allow the divine substance to flow through you. And it will flow through you in every way that is absolutely beneficial for your highest good. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. The fruits of our labor can be a wonderful experience of joy and fulfillment each and every day. Doing what is ours to do and following our soul's calling. It can be that way. I can tell you that it is that way for me. It is that way for both me and Lily, because we decided that's what we want. We weren't going to just sacrifice for money any longer. We weren't going to sacrifice for the ideas in our mind that we thought we should be accomplishing. We're going to allow Spirit to guide us in what is ours to do in fulfilling our soul's calling. It's very important, and it's never too late to get in touch with your soul's calling here. And to let that be your whole life. And you know what? It's really the easiest thing to do, because you're not fighting against it any longer. It's really the easiest and most fun thing to do, because the universe starts unfolding for you, right? It's just, everything becomes a labor of love. I'm doing it out of the sheer joy of giving and receiving that love. So last week we wrapped up that series on true prosperity. And in that series we identified some key elements of true prosperity. The biggest one that I want everyone to remember is that prosperity, seen with spiritual understanding, is not the accumulation of material wealth. That prosperity gospel that says you need to accumulate, God wants you to be accumulating wealth, it's just backwards. Because God doesn't want anything. God is everything. And the only thing you need is God. The only thing that you need is the realization that you already have and are everything right now. Everything is you right now. There's nothing lacking. There's nothing lacking in this moment, in this situation. Nothing. is lacking that can contribute to your highest good. So it's not the accumulation of wealth. It's the ability to find our soul's purpose and use it in service for the highest good of all. I love it because this is a never-ending quest. It just keeps growing and expanding because the highest good of all can never stop. Isn't that wonderful? It's just the most incredible adventure. You'll never stop on this adventure. So true prosperity is not measured by how much you have, but how much you can give. In fact, the indigenous peoples of North America believe that wealth is to be measured by having enough to give away. If you have enough for yourself, and then you get a little extra, you give that away immediately. You have to only keep what you can use in the moment. Actually, it was considered a mental illness if somebody would accumulate more than they needed. They would say, uh-oh, he's sick. That guy is suffering from... We gotta heal that person. It's a mental illness if you take more than you need, more than you can use. If you start saving up out of fear for a future date and not giving it to your neighbor. Yeah, a whole different culture, isn't it? Wow. But this way of relating to material things, possessions, are simply useful tools to sustain life and make life better for the entire tribe, not just for yourself. If I've got a great life and a big house and everything's going great for me and the person next door is in poverty, what good is that going to do me? Come on. How is that fulfilling your soul's purpose to have more than someone else? The value of anything in the material world can be determined on one thing. Here it is. I came up with this last night. It can be determined solely on how it serves spirit. The value of any material thing that only has the value in as much as you can serve spirit and share it with others for the highest good of the whole, for the highest good of the whole of creation, not just people, the animals, the planets. The planets? The plants. The water, the air, the planet. Maybe all the planets. But it has to serve the whole of creation. That's what gives it its value. So ask yourself these questions. Is what I am doing, saying, thinking, and being bringing more awareness of God? Is what I'm thinking, saying, doing, being, bringing more love and peace and understanding to myself and to the world? Is my work bringing more peace and love and understanding to the world? Is my work God's work? Am I putting God into my work? So if you can answer yes to these questions, then you can honestly say that your work is truly a labor of love. And then it doesn't matter how much money you're making. I want to make a lot of money because that way I can give more away. I want to make a whole lot of money. I do. I want to be very wealthy so that I can make you wealthy too. Yeah, I don't want more than I need, but I do enjoy the flow. I more than enjoy the flow. I love to feel Spirit using whatever is flowing through me for the good of everyone. It's just a miracle. And it makes my life feel like it's worth living because I'm giving more than I'm receiving. Well, you can't give more than you receive, but I'm giving more than I am holding on to. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. And everything I do is a labor of love. I love to work. I've always loved to work. But I always wanted to use that work for some good. I really just wanted to use everything I was doing, to help people. I used to be called the house doctor. when I had a carpentry and painting business. I would come and fix up your house, the house doctor. And one woman said, "You should be called the home healer." Because you didn't just fix up my house, you healed my home. You brought this energy into my home. And I was very strict on what colors I would paint. You couldn't tell me to paint certain colors. I would say, you have to hire someone else to paint that color. I'm very sorry. That color is not going to work to heal your home. They thought I was a very strange person. I would turn down business because it wasn't going to be a beneficial color for their health and healing. You know, when you live in a home, you want to have certain colors. I'm going way off script, but when we painted the inside and the outside of the building recently, John and I, during COVID, we did all that. I did research about the psychological and physiological effects of color on people in the room. And so the colors you had were a nice contrast if you want to look at them as a painting, but in a room, they were creating excitement and conflict. So if you look back in the history of this place, if you experienced any conflict, and if it was, not just excitement, but passion. There was some passionate colors too. If you experience those two things, then I'm not kidding. It had a lot to do with the colors with which you surrounded yourself. And you had I think there was conflicts. I don't know. I'm just guessing because there was a lot of green. There was conflicts around money. So be careful where you use green. You have to surround it with a soft, loving, trusting, peaceful energy. So that your energy is trusting and peaceful around money, and that you see it as a form of energy that is shared freely. You're not afraid of it. It doesn't create conflict within you, that you're afraid that you don't have enough, that you're afraid of what people are doing with it. Whatever it might be. All these things had to do with the environment with which you are projecting around you. So think about your life right now. And think about the energy that you are projecting out around you. Think about the thoughts you use when you think about yourself, your environment, the people in your environment, all of that. And I want you to fill it with a beautiful, beautiful white light. Just see your world filled with pure, loving light. Now allow this white light to also bring in a beautiful lavender color. That's going to heal you. Karen, that's going to heal your bee sting right here. It's a lavender color. That's the healing light. Comes right down through the top of your head, through the crown chakra, right down. And I want you to feel it. We're at the area of the bee sting that you have. Just feel that filling up now with that light. Isn't that wonderful? So colors represent emotions that you have. And I use that system of thinking when picking colors. Isn't it a nice, soft, loving, supportive feeling in here? Isn't that great? And I can ask the folks on the finance team, have we had any conflicts about money, even when our bank account was low? No. There's been no conflicts. In fact, somebody this week was so inspired by an anonymous donor that gave us $10,000. A second anonymous donor pledged $10,000. The universe is taking care of us. All we have to do is create the environment for that to happen. And that's our labor of love, to continually create the environment of spiritual growth and transformation. That's what we're doing here. Keep that environment first in your mind. Your mental environment's the most important. And then the outward environment around you. Fill it with thoughts of love. I love that. Wes, thank you so much. Just love them. And just love yourself. And just love the fact that you are taken care of by the universe. Okay, so let's continue on. So this is a really great story in the Bible. Do you guys remember when Jesus went and healed the guy at the pool? Said, take up your mat and walk. Right? That was the pool of Bethesda. And in Bethesda, they have 5 porches, 5 steps down to the pool. Well, in metaphysical thinking, there's 5 levels of consciousness that are blocking your path to your wholeness and healing. You have a lot of beliefs and judgments of why you don't deserve that healing. You have a lot of ideas of what's standing in your way of that healing. You have a lot of ideas that are blocking you. So when Jesus went to this guy and he said, would you like to be whole? Would you like to be made well? He said, well, I'm here, but everybody, before I can get in the water, gets in before me. You know, when the water's troubled, that's when they all rush down to get in the water, and I can't get in. And he looked at him and says, don't you want to be whole? Do you want to be whole? The guy starts with his story again. He says, that's not what I'm talking about. Do you want to be made whole? Right here and right now. Finally, he gets it. He doesn't need to do all that stuff to be well, to be whole. He doesn't need all that. So he says, yes, I do want to be whole. He said, so just take up your bed and walk. Get out of here. You don't need all this stuff. You think you need all this outside help. All you need is the realization that you are whole right now, that you are healed and whole in this moment. And so what happens when 2 minds join in the truth, it speeds up time. You're actually taken out of time. So the time that it needed for that healing to take place, the time that was normally necessary for all of that to occur and for that person to be healed is not necessary anymore. Because you joined with one whose mind is one with God and out of time, who doesn't need the laws that you've prescribed. This is how the healing and the miracles work, to realize that it's already here right now. So here's the interesting thing. So the guy's walking down the road, but it happens to be the Sabbath. And the Jewish authorities at the time, they said, you can't be walking down the road with your mat on the Sabbath. That's not lawful. It goes against our law. So they're what are you doing? They want to arrest him. And they say, well, the guy who healed me told me to pick up my bed and walk. So then they went and found Jesus and they said, what are you doing healing people on the Sabbath? This is his answer. My Father's working all the time, and so I work. He says, that's what I'm just doing what God's doing. I'm just doing the natural thing. Like your laws might be preventing you. Your thought system might be preventing you from actually doing what is yours to do and making your life a labor of love. So this is incredible. Now they go one step further, and you might experience some of this in today's world. For this cause, they sought, therefore, more to kill him, because he did not only break the Sabbath law, he also called God his own Father, making him equal with God. Holy mackerel. This is the teaching of unity, that you are equal with God. This is what nobody wants to hear. This is what turns the whole thought system of separation upside down and makes it useless. I am now coming from the thought system of oneness, of completeness, of perfection, and of love. If God is love, then God is love and only love. It's not sometimes judgmental and can condemn you to hell. Come on, guys, even the Pope, some of you are ex-Catholics, right? Even the Pope said there's no place, physical place, such as hell. The head of the Catholic Church said this. You don't think they wanted to fire him in that moment? Because a lot of their history of their religion has been based on the existence of a place called hell. And he said, no, hell is simply the state of consciousness. He didn't say consciousness, but a state of being that is in separation from God. Holy mackerel. The Pope is teaching A Course in Miracles. My job's over. I'm going to play golf. The Pope's teaching it for me. You're just separate. You feel like you're separate from God. He also said it's a false sense of separation because you cannot be separate from God. I'm like, this guy's teaching everything that I'm teaching on Sunday. What is going on here? It must be that what Wes said is true. We're actually evolving. That we're coming to an evolution of thought that holds love more valuable than fear. And I believe that that's true. And I want each and every one of you to not only believe it's true, but make it your job. Make it your job to teach only love. And to know that love and the ways of love are being manifest in this world. And be the one that it's manifest through. Instead of complaining or judging the ones who are still in the thought system of separation and hate, you have to demonstrate the opposite. And demonstrate the opposite is true for you. It's amazing. What an incredible thing. So, he also said something very cool, and I'm going to go really fast through this. I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous because I don't seek my own will, but I seek the will of the Father who sent me, which means I seek the highest good of all. That's all I'm seeking. I'm not seeking for myself. I don't want to build up my ego. Of my ego, my personality, the separate man, Jesus, I can't do anything. Only in my connection with the Father or with the whole, with divine mind, can I do anything at all. And one more thing that he said to his disciples is that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. It's all around us. The divine substance is here. Everything we need. And the harvest is ready, but the laborers are few. And when I look around here, and then I might go down the street and see all the cars parked over at a church over here, I wonder, what are they teaching in there? Are they teaching that you are God? That you have God in you? That it is what you are? Or is there still a thought system of separation? If there's one little thought of separation, then it is refusing to be one of the laborers. The laborers are few, but they're growing. The laborers are the ones who are going and are harvesting the fruits of the Spirit and sharing with others the fruits of the Spirit. And I know you're doing it, but let's step it up. Let's invite our friends and neighbors and our loved ones to do the same. Really, let's step it up, guys. I'm really excited about this because I know that this is a point in evolution that we've come to, and it's actually working. It's actually happening, right? So here it is. The fields are ready to be harvested, but we need laborers. We need you. We need you. So let's get to work. All right, I love you guys.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.